Well, what I'm seeing is in the marketplaces generally there seems to be a state of flux. There's some old traditional practices in shared services which seem to be working reasonably well. I think that what we are hearing, there's an awful lot of attention that should be paid to change management, and in reality there doesn't seem to be what I would consider to be sufficient focus on that, and budget and time allowable. Because when you're looking at finance transformation, the emotions and fears of individuals on the shop floor are actually quite predominant, and of course unless you're sensitive to how people are motivated, in fact to actually pass information on, job share, or indeed plan their exit out of the business, I think that I don't think businesses are paying sufficient attention to it. So I think the communication needs to be richer. It needs to be more considered, and potentially the use of outside communication experts to help mentor the delivery people in such a manner so that actually makes more sense. I'm seeing there's a lot of still traditional behaviours going on in the shared service environment, and I'm not seeing any real innovation coming through. I'm not seeing any thought process in terms of making the whole focus more strategic rather than transactional, and I think there needs to be a lot of work done in that particular area. The market itself is growing. I think it's growing substantially. I think the traditional thought processes in terms of transactions is moving on. I think people are paying more attention to the non-strategic areas of the business, which are actually causing a lot of cost and pain. And the challenge they have is they can only measure what they can see. And in the non-strategic, indirect spend environment, they can't see very much, and so they can't really measure and actually make business decisions that are good for the business in terms of spend analytics and where the money's been spent and so on and so forth. So I think there needs to be a lot more attention into those areas, which are the darker corners of finance that actually need a torch shined on them, because they're the more messy side of the business. Seems to be a bit of reluctance to actually get into those corners and start sweeping them up. But in general circumstances, the market healthy. I think organisations like Shared Service Link actually do a great job in socialising across the market, spreading the word, spreading the network in such a manner that everybody can buy in and gain great value. So I think that's strategically very good for the market in general circumstance. I also see Shared Services Link thought process in terms of the Bribery Act and the impact that that's going to have on businesses is quite thought-provoking. And we've issued a white paper on the Bribery Act just as an aid memoir to businesses to consider what they need to do in terms of structural frameworks and procedures to ensure that they're not actually going to be pulled in front of a judge and having been called to question on the type of transactions they're doing from the sales perspective and also from the purchase perspective. So I think that what we're seeing is greater focus on compliance, control, audit. Cost is an important factor, but at the end of the day, it's the process optimization piece which is actually going to deliver real value and real benefits. And I don't actually believe that offshoring or outsourcing is necessarily the ultimate panacea. I think one needs to consider all aspects, and whether nearshoring or onshoring has significant benefits is one thing that needs to be considered.